everyone, it's Rita with Everything Homemade, and I am in the orchard right now, and I am preparing to do a strawberry bed between the rows of fruit trees. Now remember, we got about 10 feet of space between each fruit tree and a row here that is empty, and I am going to now prepare the bed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, first of all, I'm going to tell you what we're up to, and I apologize for the wind, but it has been windy every single day this week, and up to the point where I just need to get this done. And I'm going to see if I can lessen the wind with my video editing in the background, and if I can't, I really apologize when the wind really picks up here. But what we're going to do is, because this ground is, I would say it's not horrible, but it's not great. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in basically some good fiber, some good broken down compost into here. We have a big compost pile where chickens and ducks and geese like to scratch, and there's a lot of decomposed hay and manure that is there. So we're going to bring that in here. We're going to weed. We're going to just do a whole bunch of maintenance. So I'm going to basically take the camera, get it set where you can kind of watch me. I'm going to, work at this. I got some splash pants on because the grass is wet, and we're basically going to work at this. Then we're going to put the geotextile down, which is if you're familiar with landscaping fabric, basically it's fabric they use for the roads. They put it down, and then they actually build the road up and pave it. But what it does, it allows water through, but it is stronger than landscaping fabric to hold back weeds, and that's why I like it. Plus I can get massive amounts for a very good price. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're gonna be transplanting tonight. So enjoy. Let's start from scratch. Let's make this bed beautiful, and let's have a lot of fun. So these are actually the roots of quackgrass. Look at that. And what has happened is, because we have had this plastic on for a year, it's actually killing these roots. Amazing. Look at that. So this is actually making my job easier. So let's continue. As I'm looking at this bed, I am actually very, very impressed on how many little weeds. We had this plastic on here all summer long last year because I was pregnant and couldn't get to the beds. And it actually was a blessing in disguise because it made my job so much easier. The ground is moist, so we're working with moist ground, which makes weed pulling a lot simpler. We're working it has killed everything else because it was black plastic, so everything just roasted. And so we should be able to do this 10-foot row in about a half an hour, add some good stuff, and voila! I'm actually really impressed how this worked. So you guys, take a look. So this is what I've done so far. you can see that beautiful dirt. And you can see the sides. Look how weedy it is. I mean, all we did last year was lift up the mulch, lift up the grass, and then put the black plastic on. And look how beautiful that dirt is. So what we're doing here, I got a little helper named Annika. Annika, can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay, and look, we also got a little helper over there. I got my little rabbit out helping us. So if you take a look, you can see some of the quack grass roots. So Annika, pull up that quack grass root. Okay, just hold them up. Look at all those. That's what we're pulling out. Okay, so we're gonna do this rest of this row just like that up into that tree. And we're gonna continue to pull back this plastic. And as we do, kind of looks like that. And it's killed the dandelions. It has just completely, besides the quack grass is trying to make it, but we're going to finish it off. Then we're going to put the geotextile down. So this is looking good. This is looking good. Okay, so we are finished the row, so take a look on how it looks. So this took me about 30 minutes, which is awesome because that black plastic saved me lots of hours of hard work. Now this is our compost. Take a look. Take a look at that. Beautiful. This is what the chickens have done. This was straw last year and they mixed it in with the dirt, they scratched it. This is what chickens do best. And so now what I'm going to do is take this and put it into our row, mix it in, and create some really nice soil. So take a look at this. So we loosen things up with the dirt and we're making sure that we're not dragging any kind of quack grass in it. I'm pulling it out. I'm mixing this by hand because of the wind. That's why I'm not doing the shovel, so it keeps it lower. And you can see this is organic matter added, and as the years go by, this is going to decompose in here, and it's going to be beautiful. So this is what strawberries like. Lots of organic matter, lots of it loose where roots can get into, and this is what the chickens have been working on. So we're creating a beautiful bed, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing all the way down. So Orion's scooping. You can actually move that Gorilla card now, Orion, over to the other side. But we are right now going to mix this all up and create this beautiful bed for the strawberries. Times do you work in a flower bed and you find glass? I don't know how many times anywhere I work in, you know, where we used to live, and then now there's always glass, and they say glass decomposes. No, but I find glass all the time in beds, so be careful. You never know when you pull up some glass. what we're going to do here, what I did here was I edged around this plum tree here, just so I was more even. Then, as you can see the fabric here, we rolled out some of it, and just to get it over there. And then I have these are special staples to hold the fabric in place. So what you need is a hammer, some staples, and we basically cut an X here and went over this plant. And so, like I said, this is really, really strong stuff. And then I'm going to put one of these right in the corner here. And the hardest part is to get through the fabric first. Just kind of hammer it in, and there it goes. Okay, and it's going to pull on the fabric. So I'm going to add another one right here just to secure it. And I'm basically going to continue this all the way down. There it goes. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to do it every foot on either side. So on this side and this side as I go, and I'm going to do the whole entire row. So there you have it, a complete finished row with that geotextile fabric. So I made it all the way to this next plum tree, and what I did was just cut, get myself out of the shadow here, I just cut a X and put it over because this tree again is very small, so it's able to do that here. And I'm going to just continue all the way to this big apple tree here. When this big apple tree, I'll actually have to cut it, and I'll go around this one. But I'm going to continue just a entire piece here to continue this. But I'm going to focus right here and get the strawberries, because I don't know if I have enough strawberries to 20 feet. 2 on each side, so we'll see. But I want to transplant, and then I'm going to keep on going. So the rest of the orchard is going to look like this. We're going to put geotextile in between all the plants to keep the weeds at bay, keep it a lot cleaner, and that way the plants aren't going to get choked out, and it's going to save us time in the long run when it comes to weeding. So the next step, we need some strawberry plants. You see this secure bed? It sure looks like a lot of weeds, and this is what happens when you just have a summer that you just can't do 90% of the stuff that you wish you could have done. And this is my strawberry patch that I am about to save, and if you do look carefully, there are strawberries in here, and we're gonna go through, and I'm going to basically take each plant out, clean up its roots 100%, so I'm not transplanting dandelions, and get them in that new bed, and they are going to breathe a sigh of relief once we get them in there. There's runners, there's strawberries here. See, they're trying to make it through, and that's what my urgency is here. That's why I'm making this bed such a top priority right now in the spring, even before I plant my garden. Okay, so take a look. I just spent the last 20 minutes here basically ripping at all the dandelions to expose exactly what I got here. So when I go to pull plants, I can see them, and there's a lot of plants hidden in between the strawberries, and a lot of new runners that are coming up that you wouldn't have saw. For example, right here, these plants here were all hidden in between the dandelions, and they go all the way to the fence. So there's a lot of plants here. What looks like a mess, there's at least 50 some strawberry plants in this area, all crammed together. And we're gonna pull them out one by one. So I went to searching and I just basically cleaned up all the leaves, ripped some of the dandelions back, pulled some of the quackgrass so I can visually see the plants so I don't step on them, so I kind of can see where to start getting into this mess of strawberries. And like I said, I'm going to dig each one out. I'm going to make sure there's no dandelion roots, no quackgrass roots. We're going to transplant them in, dose them with water, and really get them watered exceptionally for the next week, morning and night, and really take care of them, baby them, and they should do just fine. So the next step is to dig some out. So we are at the point for transplanting, and I'm going to give a few tips before we get going. Tip number one, you either transplant in the morning, early morning, I'm talking about like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, or you either transplant in the evening after 6 o'clock, especially in our northern area. During the day it is hot, and what happens is the sun's out, and transplanting puts tons of stress on the plants, and they mostly will droop. If you do it first thing in the morning and water them in thoroughly, they will come back, or in the evening. My favorite time is the evening, so they have all night to get adjusted to their new home. The other thing is, if it is a cloudy day, it is even better to transplant. Therefore, they do not have the stress of the sun on them. So I like to choose. If I have just warm weather, early morning or in the evening. My preference, evening. If you have a cloudy day, you can do it anytime in that cloudy day. Be sure to water them in thoroughly and you'll be good to go. The other thing is, several weeks after, every day make sure they're moist, make sure they're watered in good, because they need to get their roots reattached to where they are. So some really important tips there. Now you take a look at this strawberry bed. What I'm going to do is, up here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transplant, I'm going to dig up a few, transplant them in, so I don't got plants waiting. The last thing you want is a lot of root exposure to oxygen. It's harder on the plant. So I'm going to take 5 or 6 strawberries, I'm going to move them over, back up to the orchard, transplant them in. Take 5 or 6 strawberries, move them over. That way, because I have younger kids, if I get disturbed, I don't have tons of plants out of the ground. So that's what I'm doing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start here in this section right here, and then I'm going to move my way out to here. Now I'm not going to take off the dirt here until I am actually ready to plant them in. And I'm going to have a separate bucket where I'm going to knock dirt off. I'm going to take dandelion roots out. I'm going to take any other weed out before I plant them in, so they are clean. Okay, so let's just, and make sure you guys, make sure you go bigger than what the plant is. So I got a strawberry plant here, yes, a strawberry runner here, a mother plant here, another runner here. So I want to start over here, but I want to dig deep, okay? And I want to just basically take the whole thing up. You can see the roots here. I have my transfer bucket, and what I want to do is just, well, I got hooked on my bucket there. There you go. I want to just kind of put it to the side here. Just lift it up there. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to go again. I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to try. Sometimes you can't get everything in at once. I see that this one here is another plant, so I'm going to plop that one over there. And what do we got going here? Do I got any strawberries, or is this here is, I gotta see if this is a strawberry plant or a weed, so just give me a second. I'm gonna look at its roots. I'm gonna pull this dandelion. You see that? Look at that dandelion root. Okay, I got some runners coming off, and it is a strawberry, not all the way open yet. So we are going to take that, that guy right there, and we're actually going to take its runner. You see that? Strawberry plant there, and its runner mixed in with a little bit of clover. So we're going to shove that one in. So that's 4 plants. We got another little strawberry kicking around here. No. So I'm going to leave it as that for this section, because if I do another section here, I got to dig up a whole bunch of more plants. So I'm going to leave this shovel here, and let's head her to the orchard. We're in the orchard, and as you can see, we laid this fabric down to the first tree over there. This is all ready to go. Now, a couple more tips when you are ready to transplant. Take a look down here. This is about 2 feet-ish, give or take. My shovel, I'm going, we might be a little over 1 foot, but close enough. Okay, so what I want to do is I have a plant here that we need to stake up like that, but that's another thing for another day. I want to leave this area totally cleared for this plum tree. I want to start my strawberries over here, and I want them about 1 foot distance. So I'm going to use my shovel as my tool. So I want 1 foot this way, and I want 1 foot this way. Okay? So what I want to do with this fabric is you get an Olfa knife, and you want to make an X of a hole. Okay? So I want it about the same on this side, good enough for me. I'm going to make an X here. And it doesn't have to be crazy big. Okay, something like that. And that opens that hole up. I'm going to go right to the middle of the X is where I am going to measure my next one. It's going to be about here. And I'm going to go like this. Okay, beautiful, done. Deal. Make sure when you're using sharp knives, make sure it is always closed out of safety. Okay, so the next thing here, thank you my son for the water, is to make sure that you have some water, because as soon as you put those strawberries in, you should water them. Never let them wait hours on hours before watering. Very important. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to start using my hands, and we're going to get our first strawberry out. Okay, so let's take a look, you guys. You can step on this, you know. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose the roots, because it was in dirt with tons of quackgrass. It had a lot of dandelions. There was thistle in the bed, so I don't want any of that in my bed here. I'm going to expose this little guy temporarily, making sure. See all its beautiful roots? Strawberries don't have very big roots systems, okay? So take a look at that. So the next thing I want to do is go, okay, this is about the size of root. I take my shovel. Because I loosen this up, I'm just going to make a hole, and I'm going to push this wonderful dirt that we worked with around, and then I'm going to basically shove those roots in and shove the dirt right over it again. Okay, something like that. And there is a crown to a strawberry. Okay, so let's use this as an example of what I mean. You cannot bury your strawberry up here. If you bury it, you choke it out. There's a crown right at the base here, and that's how far you want to go. If you go deeper than that, you're in deep trouble with these guys. So, what I did here is I went right to the crown. You see that? Right up there. And I'm pressing the dirt around it, making sure the roots are well covered. Okay? This beautiful like that, making sure it's not choked out. Wonderful, you see that? And when you've got these flaps in the way, I like to just kind of give them a little trimming. The one there. The other ones look good. I'm just going to tuck them a little bit. Done. To give this guy a little bit of water. Okay. He looking good, looking good. And it's all done. The other thing that I note that underneath here, there's wonderful moisture. So he should be good. And he's gonna grow up big. You gotta remember that. He looks so tiny in that little hole, but he will grow up big. So let's do just one more. Are you with me, Nova? Nova's doing an awesome job filming here. She is 9, right? She is 9 and she's doing a wonderful job. So let's just do one more. Okay, let's do this one here. Now, this one here has clover growing in it, which I don't want. So it has another plant. So I'm going to break off. And when you break roots, you kind of just want to break them, kind of work with it, kind of where it wants to break. Okay, so this one here again, we're going to take off the dirt, expose the roots, like this. Okay, take a look at that. I'll give you that good specimen out for you. And then I'm just going to dig my hole again. Again, these guys aren't that deep. I'm going to put it in some of this wonderful dirt. Here, again, I'm looking at the crown and I'm going to move some dirt here. So I'm basically kind of putting the dirt right on top of this guy. Just like so. Moving my hands. I'm going to tuck some of this underneath here. Okay, and I will trim this one up a bit after. I don't have a pair of scissors on me right now, but anything dead growth like that, hey, there's a root here exposed. Let's tuck that root back in there. Get it back, there you go. Okay, so there's another one all ready to go. Okay, and again, water this guy in. Now water it good. There you go. And just make sure, you guys, when you are watering your plants in, make sure you're not using chlorinated water. I'm using dugout water at the moment. Make sure you got something clear of chlorine. You never want to water your plants with chlorine, as it will either stunt its growth, make it struggle, or kill it. And so we're just going to continue doing this all the way down. I'm going to use my measuring guide right here. Our next strawberry will be about here, and we are just going to keep on going. And I'll show you the end result. So there you have it, the first row complete. Take a look. Okay, so we're one short here tonight. So I got to move one more strawberry plant, but that completes this row here. So 30 strawberry plants fit into this section. So tomorrow we're going to continue. We're going to do another section, as I have another 30 strawberries to do that, and we're just going to go section by section here. So looking good, and it'll grow up. You won't even see the black fabric. And it'll just be phenomenal. They're in a little bit of shock, some of them. Take a look at this one here, for example. But it'll pop back up. We watered them in good. For the next few days, might lose some of their leaves, but they will come back, and this looks really, really nice. And Nova here was a big helper. She planted one side, I planted the other one. Thanks a lot, Nova.
Yeah.